The city takes its first step and the entire kingdom feels it. Towers of living stone bend like knees. Streets ripple like muscles. Windows glow with consciousness as foundations tear free from the earth with a sound like the world breaking. King Aldrich stares from his palace balcony as the horizon itself stands up. This is chapter 68, and Kaelen Vross, the disowned son who was supposed to be worthless, just made the impossible real. But to understand how we got here, we need to go back to where it all began. Kaelen Vross is the third son of House Vross, one of the 5 ruling families of the Aurelian kingdom. Chapter 1 opens at his awakening ceremony, where every noble child receives their magical affinity. His older brothers awaken flame conquest and lightning dominion, combat magics that made House Vross proud. But when the awakening crystal touches 15-year-old Kaelen, it glows soft silver and the examiner goes silent. Architecture magic. The crowd whispers. His father's face turns to stone. Architecture magic is support class. Builders. Laborers. Not warriors. Not conquerors. His mother won't meet his eyes. His brother Darius laughs out loud and the sound echoes through the ceremony hall. The rejection is immediate. His father, Lord Marcellus Vross, speaks with a voice that could freeze blood. You will not shame this house further. Kaelen is moved to the servant quarters that same night. 16 years old and suddenly invisible in his own home. Chapters 2 through 5 show his fall. Former friends ignore him. Servants pity him. His brothers pretend he doesn't exist. But Kaelen throws himself into studying architecture magic anyway because it's the only thing he has left. He learns from old books in forgotten sections of the family library. Stone shaping. Foundation reading. Structural resonance. Basic skills that most mages consider beneath them. Chapter 6 introduces Mira Caldwin, a commoner scholar who works in the royal archives. She's researching magical history and notices Kaelen reading texts about ancient architecture mages. They're the only comprehensive records left. Most architecture knowledge was lost in the erasure 300 years ago when the Devouring City appeared. Mira has kind eyes and doesn't care about his family name. She starts sharing restricted texts with him. Old builders created wonders that made kingdoms jealous. Floating fortresses. Bridges that spanned oceans. And one architect whose name was struck from every record built a city that walked. A city that consumed the entire Mordian Empire in a single night. 20 million people. Gone. After that, architecture magic was branded forbidden at its highest levels and most texts were destroyed. But the city was never found. The Devouring City still wanders somewhere beyond the mapped world. Chapter 9 brings the assassination attempt. Kaelen is 20 years old now and his family wants him gone permanently. His brother Darius hires the Crimson Thorn Guild to make it look like bandits. 3 assassins corner Kaelen in the old quarry where he practices shaping stone. They don't expect him to fight back. They expect an easy kill. The first assassin lunges and Kaelen slams his palm to the ground on pure instinct. The earth answers. Not with a wall or a barrier. The stone beneath the assassin's feet grows hands. Actual hands of living rock that grab and pull him down into the earth. His scream cuts off as stone flows over his face like water. The other 2 assassins freeze. Kaelen stares at his own hands. That's not architecture magic. That's something older. The second assassin throws a knife and Kaelen's panic triggers it again. The quarry wall behind him shifts and a doorway opens in solid rock. The door has teeth. Stone teeth that snap shut on the knife mid-flight. The third assassin runs. Kaelen collapses. His hands are glowing with silver marks that weren't there before. Geometric patterns that pulse with ancient power. When he touches the quarry wall, he can feel the stone thinking. Every rock in this place is suddenly aware of him. Waiting for commands. He has awakened something that was sleeping in his bloodline. Chapter 10 reveals the truth when Mira finds him there. She sees the marks and her face goes pale. Those are foundation seals. The mark of a true architect. The ones who don't just shape buildings. They create living structures. Foundations that walk. Cities that think. Kaelen goes into hiding because anyone with foundation seals is supposed to be executed on sight. That law has been absolute for 3 centuries. Mira helps him escape to the Whispering Wastes, a region of ruins where old magic still lingers. Chapters 11 through 20 show his desperate attempts to understand his power. He practices on small structures first. A cottage that can move its own walls to follow the sun. A bridge that extends itself when someone approaches. But the structures don't just obey. They bond with him. He can feel their foundations like extensions of his own body. And in his dreams, something massive calls to him. A presence that feels like stone and consciousness merged into one. Chapter 18 introduces Archon Velis, who leads the Eternal Covenant, a cult that has been searching for the heir to the forbidden architect bloodline for 3 centuries. They believe the Devouring City is still alive out there and needs a new master to awaken it fully. Velis has precognition magic and saw Kaelen's awakening in a vision. He sends his lieutenant, a woman named Sindra Kael, who wields decay magic that rots anything she touches. She arrives at the wastes with 20 Covenant soldiers. They don't want to kill Kaelen. They want to control him. Use him to find the Devouring City and finish what the last architect started. Sindra finds Kaelen's practice ruins and smiles. The boy is teaching himself. How precious. The confrontation in Chapter 21 is brutal. Sindra's decay magic dissolves Kaelen's stone defenses like they're made of sand. Her soldiers surround him. She offers a choice. Join the Covenant willingly or watch everyone he cares about rot. Starting with Mira, who they captured following him. Kaelen sees Mira bound and gagged with decay marks crawling up her arms. He has seconds before the rot reaches her heart. This is where he stops holding back. He slams both palms to the ground and screams the command in a language he doesn't remember learning. The ruins around them don't just activate. They stand up. 50 abandoned buildings tear their foundations from the earth and grow legs of twisted stone. They walk towards Sindra's soldiers with the grinding sound of tectonic plates moving. Sindra's confidence cracks. She throws decay bolts that dissolve one walking building, but 3 more take its place. Kaelen is bleeding from his nose and eyes, but he doesn't stop. The foundation seals on his arms are glowing white-hot. He shapes a tower that grabs Sindra with walls that become fingers. She rots through them, but he rebuilds faster than she can destroy. Her soldiers retreat. Sindra escapes by rotting a hole straight down through the earth, but her expression says everything. Fear. This boy with no training just made structures walk. What will he do with time? Mira is dying from the decay. Kaelen holds her and the foundation seals flare again. He doesn't think. Just acts. He presses his marked hands to her chest and commands the decay to stop. The rot freezes. Then reverses. Her flesh knits back together as if the decay never touched her. But it costs him. The feedback nearly stops his heart. Chapters 25 through 35 are the training arc. Kaelen accepts that running won't save him. The Covenant knows what he is. The kingdoms will hunt him when word spreads. His only chance is to master the foundation seals before someone uses him as a weapon. Mira helps him research the fragmentary texts about the last architect. His name was Kaelen Vross and he was considered the greatest magical mind of his age. Built wonders for kings. Saved cities from disasters. Then something changed. He retreated to the barren expanse and built his masterwork in secret. The Devouring City. When it emerged, it walked across the Mordian Empire in a single night and every person inside the empire vanished. Theron was never seen again, but witnesses said he walked into his city's central tower and the door sealed behind him. Chapter 37 brings the kingdom's response. King Aldrich sends his war mages to capture Kaelen after reports of walking ruins reach the capital. Led by Grand Mage Corvin, who wields absolute binding magic that can freeze anything in stasis. Corvin is a pragmatist. He knows Kaelen is dangerous but believes the boy can be reasoned with. The confrontation happens at the edge of the wastes when Corvin's 100-mage battalion surrounds Haven, Kaelen's small walking house. Corvin projects his voice magically. Kaelen Vross. Surrender the forbidden power and we will grant you a merciful execution. Resist and we will bury you in stone. Kaelen's response is to wake up the entire waste. Every ruin for 5 miles activates simultaneously. Hundreds of broken structures stand and form a protective circle around Haven. The battle is one-sided. Corvin's binding magic freezes dozens of walking structures, but Kaelen just animates more. The war mages throw everything they have, but architecture magic counters them all. Fire mages try to burn Haven and the walls grow stone scales that absorb heat. Lightning mages strike and the foundations ground the electricity harmlessly. Corvin manages to bind Kaelen himself for 3 seconds before Haven breaks the binding by wrapping its master in protective walls. The war mages retreat after losing 40 soldiers to structures that crushed them or dragged them underground. Corvin stares back at the wall of walking ruins and knows he's witnessed the rebirth of the forbidden power. The king will not be pleased. Chapter 45 introduces the true scope of Kaelen's potential. He's meditating in Haven when the foundation seals suddenly burn and a vision hits him. The Devouring City calling. He sees it clearly for the first time. A metropolis the size of a mountain range walking through an endless desert. Buildings stacked impossibly high. Towers that pierce clouds. Streets that rearrange themselves like living tissue. And at its center, a palace with a throne of foundation stone. Theron's throne. The vision shows more. The city is not empty. The Mordian Empire's 20 million people are still inside. Not dead. Changed. Merged with the architecture itself. Living as part of the city's structure. Aware but transformed. Theron didn't destroy the Empire. He absorbed it. Created a new form of existence where consciousness and construction became one. The vision terrifies and fascinates Kaelen equally. He makes his decision. He will build his own walking city. A foundation strong enough to house an army. Mobile enough to evade kingdoms. Powerful enough to stand against the Covenant. Chapter 48 begins the construction. Building a walking city from scratch is the most complex architecture working ever attempted by someone with only months of training. Kaelen chooses a massive plateau in the wastes as his foundation. Spends 6 weeks carving foundation seals into bedrock. The geometric patterns cover 5 square miles and glow when he pours his power into them. When Kaelen finally activates the foundation, the plateau cracks. Splits into segments. Then grows legs. 20 massive legs of layered stone that lift the entire plateau 300 feet into the air. Walls rise from the plateau's surface. Buildings shape themselves from raw rock. In 3 days, Kaelen creates a walking city with space for 10,000 people. He names it Wanderer's Gate. The moment Wanderer's Gate takes its first step is pure spectacle. The ground shakes for miles. Each footfall sounds like controlled earthquakes. King Aldrich sees it from his palace and immediately calls an emergency council. The Covenant sees it and Archon Velis laughs with delight. And in the distant wastes beyond mapped territory, the Devouring City feels its successor wake and changes direction. Begins walking toward Wanderer's Gate for the first time in 300 years. Chapter 70 shows the aftermath. Refugees flock to Wanderer's Gate. Within weeks, it has 5,000 residents. But Kaelen feels the strain. The silver veins now cover his entire torso. His eyes glow permanently. He's becoming more architecture than human. The final scene is Chapter 75. Kaelen stands alone on Wanderer's Gate's outer wall at night. Mira approaches with urgent news. Scouts spotted another walking city on the horizon. Massive beyond comprehension. The Devouring City has found them. And it's not attacking. It's following. Matching their pace exactly. Like it's waiting for Kaelen to come to it. The towers glow in the darkness and Kaelen knows he's about to find out what Theron left inside.